If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. Okay, so today we are going to talk about my own expectations and hopes for this new Pusha T record, It's Almost Dry, that is dropping tomorrow on April 22nd. So let's jump straight into this. So, as you've probably seen, I've made a lot of videos about this album leading up to its release. I just dropped my Everything We Know About It yesterday, which I would really recommend you go check out. I got a lot more interesting videos in the playlist as well that is up on my channel, and also as a card later on in this video that you can go click on. Also, I recommend that video, all the information on it, and then Everything We Know About It. Those are the two videos that I would watch if I were you. But today, as I said, we're going to talk about my expectations for this. Now, obviously, expectations can always be based on, certain things. Mostly when it comes to albums, it's singles though. And so far, we've gotten 3 singles for this record. I'm talking about Diet Coke, first of all, which was the first single that released, which I really liked. It had like a darker sound, it had a more aggressive sound, menacing in a way, and I really enjoyed that. I think on those types of instrumentals and with that type, those type of flows, Pusha really does his best and he's in his element, so I like to see him do that. And also with the Kanye production, it was flawless. I really love that track. So that is obviously something that he can always go for. That's like a safe route. When Pusha chooses to hop on those type of instrumentals and use those type of flows and type of energy and cadences and projection with his voice, then he knows he's on a safe route. And he did the same thing with Hear Me Clearly, which was that track for Nigo's I Know Nigo album that also got a video, but that then is now also ending up on this new record, It's Almost Dry, as it is on the track list, and it was always like the descriptions to the singles for this thing. But as I said, I go over all of that in the other videos that I just mentioned to y'all earlier on in this video. So those 2 tracks kind of had that, dark, menacing sound to it. And then we also got Neck and Wrist, that, Pharrell and Jay-Z track, where it kind of switched up a little bit. This was kind of departing from the sound of the previous 2 singles. It wasn't upbeat by any means, but it was also not that dark and, didn't feature that menacing energy. And the thing that, I'm kind of going at is also in the trailer for this thing, where he also announced the release date. He also used these creepy versions of his face, or like him laughing, as like an overlay for him just standing there. So you can already tell that this album is going for somewhat of a darker, creepy vibe. And I've seen reports of people, or read them, that said that they already heard the whole album, they listened to the leaks, and they're saying that this is like a dark, even darker than Daytona, I mean not even, but darker than Daytona record that you can definitely tell, and we can tell that from the singles he's released. So that is kind of what I expect this album to be like. In terms of subject matter, Pusha always likes to go back to drugs, to cocaine. That is what he's known for, so that'll likely also play a role in this record that was already kind of teased at with the Lana Del Rey picture that made the rounds as a supposed album cover, but then not really album cover. Never made it as the album cover, but I guess just drugs and cocaine and him selling it will play a role again on this record. But I do hope that someone in Pusha's position right now, who's gone through so much in hip-hop and pop culture, the ties to Kanye and all of that, maybe he has some more interesting stuff to talk about. I like Daytona for exactly that, for him kind of leaving his comfort zone, not lyrically in a way of like pen craft wise, but in terms of like subject matter. Of course, what some people are speculating is a response to Drake, even though I don't think that this will happen, since this was very spontaneous and that Drake League only appeared as I said, a couple of days ago or weeks ago. So I don't think that Pusha T would, put a diss or a re-diss on here in this short period of time. Now, there are some tracks on the track list, though, that we could kind of talk about how those would play out. For example, the Scrape It Off track with Uzi and Don Toliver. That will likely also not be like a very dark track, because those two artists, Uzi and Don Toliver, are not really known for making that type of music. So I would guess that is more of a light-hearted, kind of more lightweight track that then is in contrast to the rest of the record. Of course, as I always say, I would love for artists to kind of, you know, elevate artistically and creatively. Maybe for Pusha, and this is what I've been wishing for, that means not just sticking to the same, you know, flows and to the same energy on the mic as he usually goes for, as he went for on, for example, Diet Coke or Hear Me Clearly, that made those examples in the beginning already, but maybe trying to, like, you know, breach out of that. He tried it on Neck and Wrist, didn't really like it though. What he tried with, like, the flow on there and the cadence, you know, at the end. But maybe just experiment more, you know, around with that. And I like that he at least tried something with Neck and Wrist, and that he wanted to step out of his comfort zone. But I felt like I've heard the same Pusha verses in terms of energy for, you know, the 1000th time now. So him trying something, maybe taking some inspiration from this new generation, would, I think, benefit the album greatly in anything he does in the future. Because Pusha is still one of those artists that is, like, at a relatively high age when it comes to being a hip-hop artist, but they can still come through and just shake up the culture and shake up the game. So whenever he drops something, it's people, you know, it's like people are still watching, and the stuff that he does is still relevant. And that's why I think that, you know, this album will be very relevant with the people as well, and that this is not like an album that will be forgotten about. I've seen people that, you know, listen to this already say that this is his best solo work, so I'm hoping that they are, you know, correct with that statement. I'm hoping for a very great Pusha T record, because Daytona was already great, and if he can continue on that run, even though it's 4 years later, then that can really cement his spot as one of those people that, you know, can never really go out of business, because they always know how to keep the fans, like, you know, longing for their music. So I am in pretty good hopes for this, judging from the singles, even though, you know, don't do a Neck and Wrist again. But Diet Coke, Hear Me Clearly, insane. I'm looking forward to the features, obviously the Ye and Cudi feature, that other solo Ye feature, and then also the Don Toliver and Lil Uzi Vert feature. I think are all going to be very interesting to see how that's all going to play out on this one. But other than that, you know, really all love for Pusha T. Hoping this album does well, hoping we get a classic, but I think he's in a pretty good space to do that right now. It's not too long either, only 12 tracks. I like that. Anyway, all of this is obviously just my opinion. Now I want to know what you think about this. Are you excited for Pusha T? It's almost dry. You know, what did you think of the single so far? Are you hyped for this record? What are you hyped for the most? What are you hyped for the least? All of that, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.